Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to episode 70 of the Boonie Breakdown podcast. The podcast where we sometimes cry, we always laugh, we might get a bit ratchet, but we're forever gonna break it down. All right, this week my guest is Shatora, and Shatora is the president of the Black Naturist Association. And if you're like me, you're probably like, Boonie girl, what is a naturist? Okay. So the Black Naturist Association, they are advocates for nudity to help promote healthy body images for those in the Black community. Yes, nudity. I gotta say, I learned so much doing this interview with Shatora, and she breaks it all the way down for us, and we chat about why this is a need at all for the Black community. How does one join the association, and how does one even deal with attending the events, right? Nude in this day and age of social media, because everybody has a phone, right? And so you got your titties, your balls, whatever hanging out there, but people have their phones. And so she talks about their protocols and their policies around protecting and respecting people's privacy. Okay, so stay tuned for that conversation. Let's get into my pick of the week. So this one is a little bit spicy. Okay, and you guys know I do not shy away from the spice, the ratchet, the kink. I love it. But I was researching for another episode, and I discovered a orgasm sound library. Yes. It is a project that was started in 2006. It seems like it's two women, and they wanted to break down the barriers against like erotic products in consumers' minds and to help people improve the quality of their sex lives. But they wanted to do it from like an emotional approach, the website said. And they've done an in-depth study to explore like taboos about sexual behavior around female masturbation. And so you can go on to the website and you can actually upload your own sound clip of an orgasm. Yes. You can go to the website. I will put the link in the show notes. It's very easy to do. Mine might be on here. But it is very interesting because you can hashtag your sound clip. And it can also like when you hashtag it, it'll be like, masturbation, or you could be like intense licking, oral sex, and you can like say what was going on while you were doing your orgasm. You can download this. They do like this really cool, like colorful, like graph to kind of match your sound wave. You can share your own orgasm link to your Pinterest board if you would like to. But I really just thought this was just one of those interesting, cool things that just happens to be on the fucking internet. So if you are adventurous and you're a woman, I say go to the link and submit and upload your orgasm. But how cool is that? Just to have like get this anonymous record of how you come online, and who knew such things existed. This is why the internet is amazing. All right, let's move on to the housekeeping. I loved all of the feedback from episode 69 with Petra, who was the Hollywood stunt woman and who had done stunt double missions with Mariah Carey and Queen Latifah and Vivica Fox and Rosario Dawson. Someone wrote into me and said that they would have never thought that when they listened to an episode, they would have heard me chatting with a stunt woman, but they enjoyed the surprise as they always do with the Boonie Breakdown. You know what? That was perfect. I loved it. But you know what else that would be really good? I love when you guys send these things directly to me. But what would even be more bomb is if you left that review in a podcast app, if you left that review of the podcast on our Facebook page. It is so easy to do. It takes like 3 steps. Just remember, if you're doing it in Apple Podcasts or in iTunes, that you need to have a nickname set up for your account, or it will not let you submit your review. So all you have to do is just go to your settings in your iTunes, add a nickname, and then you'll be able to comment on anything across all of the Apple universe. But many of you always say you have issues submitting it, and that is probably why. Again, shout out to Sheikah for that life hack for saving the goddamn day on that. But yes, again, as I always love the feedback that you guys DM me, you email me, you tweet me, whatever way you send it to me, it would just be so much more helpful to me and to the entire Boonie Breakdown community if you can post those reviews in official podcast apps and again on our Facebook page. I would appreciate it. And those of you who have already purchased your merchandise or wanting to purchase your merchandise, I have listened to you, and now available is the black V-neck, a black V-neck for the Ratchet in Me Honors the Ratchet in You shirt in the pink and white lettering that is now available for pre-order because you guys said it. So I wasn't going to go out here and print some shirts and then you weren't going to buy it and then I'm stuck with these shirts. So if you would like it, you can submit a pre-order and hopefully we can get those V-necks shipped maybe after Labor Day. But I would need at least 12 pre-orders to make this happen. Okay. So again, like I said before when I started this, like I really don't want to be in the business of it making t-shirts. Like I don't want to be a t-shirt business. But your support with the t-shirts helps offset the cost of doing the show. So I greatly appreciate it. And as always, if you still have not, feel free to follow us. Or if you're new to the Boonie Breakdown, welcome. Hey, follow us on Instagram and Facebook over the Boonie Breakdown. You can follow us on Twitter, just at Boonie Breakdown. And when you're sharing this episode, please use the hashtag the Boonie Breakdown or the hashtag PODIN, PODIN. That helps get the word out. Again, please do not send me nastygrams when you say, I hashtagged, I shared it, and you didn't comment back. Your page is probably locked. So if your page is locked, that means I cannot see your post on social media. I can't see your post on Twitter when you use the hashtag. So you would either have to like tag me in it in order for me to see it at least on Twitter. But on Instagram, if your page is private, your page is private. Sorry, booze. But that is it for the housekeeping. And let's just get ready to break it down. Okay, guys, this one should be a pretty fun episode. I'm really excited about this guest and what we're going to talk about. So I would like to invite Shatora, who is the president of the Black Naturist Association, to the Boonie Breakdown. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I am doing great today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for this. I just told Shatora how I found out about her, and you guys aren't going to believe this. My mom was like, Adrian, this sounds like something you should do on your podcast. So of course I researched and I'm like, I absolutely have to have you guys on. So thanks for accepting.
Thank you, your mom, for making you aware of us. So I appreciate it. Shout out to her.
And at first I had to ask her, I'm like, how did you find out about this? Like, what are you into, Mom?
See, that's the question I probably wouldn't ask. Like, okay.
Yeah, like we kind of have that relationship. Like, I just had to know, like, were you looking into this? And then she explained the connection. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I guess mamas need lives too. So
there you go. My mom knows. So there you go.
All right. So I want to get started, just simple, because people are probably listening to this and like, what is a naturist? So can you just explain, we'll start with like a vocabulary test, the difference between a naturist and then what is a nudist?
They are similar in many different ways. I think most naturists both have to do with nudity and the wanting and needing to be nude for different and various activities, whether it be specific social engagements or there are people who are practicing nudity / naturism all the time. For me, one of the biggest differences are most naturists find nudity to be helpful in coming like one with mind, body, soul, spirit, environment. It's really about being one with nature and embracing like a minimalist slash, I don't want to say fresh perspective, but it's almost like, hey, this is how we were born. This is how we were made. So this is how I want to live and embrace my life. And I think if you look into a lot of naturist activities and environments, people do a lot of stuff nude. I mean, in naked. I think for most people where you want to say, hey, I'm a nudist, I think it still has the act of being unclothed, but I feel like if you say you're a naturist, it's like more spiritual out of it versus just saying I want to be naked. And now that's just my personal definition, but someone else could tell you something different. But we wanted to make, and the reason why we chose naturist over nudist is because for us, it's just not just about like being nude, like, hey, just come with us and be nude. It's really about the holistic piece of it and understanding that being nude, we want it to be a form of self-awareness and self-acceptance, and realizing that to be nude doesn't always have to coincide with sex and or sexuality or a sexual being. It's really about, number one, embracing who you are at the time that you are, whether you're big, small, young, old, doesn't matter. It's just really self-acceptance and awareness of yourself.
Well, I like that you said that the differentiating between the two and not just having like a sexual connotation. But I did want to circle back to something, because you said the reason kind of why you started the group. And so you are the president of the Black Naturist Association. Was there truly, like, why did you feel like there was a need to have this type of group specifically for Black people?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because I'm the president, but there are 6 of us that are founders of the organization. And this originally started with, number one, just the love of travel. Of all of us love to travel. We love to explore not only the U.S., but various countries throughout the world. And then as we began to go to beaches and other places, it really came about to say, hey, well, have you ever been, to a nude beach? And, some of us said yes, some of us said no, and we got together and started traveling to new beaches together. How BNA was formed was that we were going to different events, but some of them began in kind of like a naturist or nudist setting, but ended up with more of a sexual overtone to it. And what we wanted to do was create a space where people could experience the freedom that we felt of being nude, but then also have the comfortability to say, hey, I am not wanting a sexual environment out of this. I really want to experience this for the naturism / nudism itself, and not necessarily be worried about, is someone going to find me attractive, or do I have to hit on someone, or is someone going to hit on me, or am I going to be, in an uncomfortable sexual environment?
Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. So you mentioned nude beaches. Yes. What was your first experience like at a nude beach?
Interestingly enough, I mentioned we like to travel, so I invited a bunch of people, and they were strangers at the time. And interestingly enough, they were only coming to see me to go to a nude beach, and it was in Miami. And my first experience was I wanted to go to the nude beach before they got there, just to be like, okay, let me just see if I can do this. And so there's a beach in Miami called Hallover. And I asked a girlfriend of mine, and I was like, you want to go with me? And she was like, huh? And she was like, sure, I'll go, but I'm not getting nude. I'm like, okay. And so we went down there on a Saturday or Sunday. And the best way I tell people is like a Band-Aid. You just rip it off. And awkward probably for like the first minute or so, but that was more internal because no one was staring at me. It was just like, I think they're staring at me, but they really weren't. And then after that, it was easy. And I tell people all the time that it's actually easier being nude at the beach than having on a bathing suit, and people don't believe me.
I don't.
Well, it's because when you're enclosed in a bathing suit, you're like, does this look good on me? Does it fit well? Is it riding up? Well, we don't have on clothes. You don't worry about that. It's just you. And so once you come to like accept you and realize that everyone else there is accepting themselves, then it's easy.
Gotcha. I accidentally stumbled upon a new beach. We were on a cruise. This was so funny. We were on a cruise and we were doing an excursion. I think we had just like went to Duns River Falls, I think. And then the other part we were doing like lazy tubing down some river in Jamaica. But the river, like, ended into a beach. And as we're like coming into the beach, I'm like, oh my God, all those people like from far away, I was like, they have on like the same bathing suit.
Yes.
And then like the closer we got, the guy turned around. I was like, oh shit, that's a dick. Like, and then we looked and I was like, oh my God, we're at a nude beach. And so my friend was just kind of like, what kind of freaky shit is this that they, because they didn't say that obviously in the description of the excursion, but that was my only encounter with a nude beach.
Yeah, it can take people by surprise, especially if you don't know what you're going into. And in the United States, it's a very conservative area versus if you're going overseas and everything where, Europe, nudity really isn't a big thing. And so, of course, it just depends on where you are and who the people that you're interacting with of whether or not they're surprised or people just look at you and go, oh, and then they turn around and keep going about their business.
So how many members are in your group?
So currently, I think as the last time I looked, we have 68 members that are official BNA members. And for us, that's actually really, really good. We're about a year old in our formation as an organization. And it's really been a journey for us, but it's been one that we've kind of like people stumble upon us. And most people just say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that there were other people out there like me. I love it.
So what's that ratio like men to women?
Oddly enough, I think it's 50-50, roughly 50-50. If not, wow. There are more men than women. Yeah. And I know for people who travel, that's really odd because usually you go on a trip and it's like 99% women and one guy. But we've been able to find a pretty good ratio of men, women. We have various age ranges, people of various ages in the group, and minimum age is 21 to whatever. We have single people, couple people, all different sexual orientations. So we're very welcoming of everyone. As long as you're about the mission of BNA and willing to help support diversity in the nudist and our naturist community, then we're good.
So how does one become a member, and like what do you hope that like each member gets out of belonging to the association?
So the thing about BNA is we are an official naturist organization that's affiliated with AANR, and AANR is the American Association of Nude Recreation. It is an accredited organization that has certain principles that a group must abide by in order to become a member. And part of that includes, number one, making sure that you're about the naturist community and it's, for lack of a better word, like not like a swingers organization. So they really want to make sure that it's family friendly and it's not, has that secondary component to it. The additional thing for us with BNA is that once you become a member of BNA, you get a membership to AANR. And so you have access to their website. You have access to a lot of the different naturist and or nudist clubs and parks that are around the country. And so once you have that membership card, you can visit them for reduced and or free entrance fees sometimes. And then with BNA, because of what we do and how we want to make it a comfortable environment, to become a member, you have to pay dues of $90 a year. And that goes towards us. Okay. Number one, we perform a sexual predator background check on all of our members to make sure that we're...
Well, that's awesome. I was going to ask about safety.
We want to make sure that we're creating a safe environment for everyone involved, both men and women. And so if you have any history of sexual predator or anything that has to do with children, pornography, or anything like that, we don't allow those members in. And then also as a member of BNA, you get, like I mentioned, the AANR membership, and then you get a BNA membership packet, as well as any of our trips that we go on. You get a 10% discount on the cost of any of our trips. So they get first pick in registration for our trips. before it's released to the general public. And so that way you have ROI on that. And then we have a private Facebook group. So we have the public page that anyone can access and see our events going on. But if you want to talk about more personal issues or talk about subjects that you don't want the entire world to know about, we have a private Facebook page that you have access to as well. And only paid members have access to that.
And so you mentioned like nude recreation and having families. Do any of your members bring around their children?
So interestingly enough, we had a discussion topic on this the other day, and thus far, no one has brought their children on an event. All of our events thus far are 21 and older, only because we provide alcohol.
Okay.
We have alcohol that is served. And so due to minors, we ask that they don't do that. But we have certain events like the event at Hallover that we have coming up on August 18th, where we will be there as BNA, but we are welcoming others to come and join us because it's a public beach. So they're more than welcome to bring friends and family to come and just socialize with us.
And this is funny. So in terms of safety, I guess the other thing there would be privacy concerns. And like, we're in this era of social media and everyone wants to share. So is there like a no phones policy at your event, or like what kind of policies do you have in place that kind of can protect, or not protect, but respect the privacy of your members or people who
that
are
is a great question, because that's one that we get often. So if you go to our public Facebook page, you'll see pictures of us at different events. I think one of the most recent ones we did that got a lot of publicity was at the house in Orlando. So our picture taking policy is this. Number one, you cannot take a picture of someone without their consent, period, point blank. Not on the slide, meaning don't take a selfie and someone's in the background. Don't take a picture of someone without their consent. Number two, once that picture is taken, even if they consented, they have to give consent to post before it's posted. So each person in the picture has to see the picture and agree. And if I'm in the picture, number one, we respectfully ask, if you don't want to get posted, don't get in the picture. But once you're in the picture, you have to give consent before it's posted. And then that's as far as pictures and any type of video there. The other piece is that we ask all our members not to mention the names of other people that are in the group, just due to privacy. So if you go on a trip with someone, don't mention the names of who else was on the trip unless they were on the trip with you. And that's just out of respect to say we had more people that attended the event that weren't in the picture, but just due to privacy concerns, they chose not to get in the picture, which is perfectly okay.
No, I think that is something that everyone should work on in general, because I even find myself guilty of this, of just taking pictures of people and they don't know you're doing it, and then you're posting it, and they didn't ask to be posted.
They're like, girl, I'm supposed to be at work today. Why you post that picture on
And now I done gone viral, and it's like, what? I didn't even ask for this. So yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest things. As soon as I was researching, I was just kind of like, everybody has a phone these days. Like, that would be my biggest concern, is that someone would take a picture or some video and just share it without my consent.
It's hard, and we get it, but we attend the events as well as participants, but most importantly, to make sure that we're helping to create that safe environment and noticing when things may be happening that others aren't necessarily okay with.
I want to circle back to like the self-acceptance stuff for a second. And I know somebody's probably listening to this like, oh my God, I could never go to a nude beach. I could never go to a nude event. Shaking my head, myself included. It's like, I got these rolls, my body's not right and tight. It's not the ideal shape. So would they be shamed, or how would you advise someone who is like, oh, I'm kind of interested, but my body's not right?
I would say that for someone who thinks about it and they want to explore it, then it's the perfect type of event to come to, because for us, that's the whole point of you get past it. And like I said, I say it and people really don't believe me. I am not the same size today that I was when we originally started this group in the, conception phase, but it's okay. And it's okay because with the smallest person in the room probably has some type of self-doubt or loathing about some piece of their body part. Everyone has their own insecurities, whether the other person on the other side of the room thinks they look good, bad, or otherwise. It's there. But by the time you come together and you congregate and you talk to people and you really see the person for who they are, that fades into the background. And I've had people that have signed up for trips and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And the day before they're like, I'm canceling. I ain't going. And I'm like, no, I'll see you there tomorrow.
Oh,
You'll be fine.
wow.
Like, trust me. And then they get there and they're like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then literally they've signed up for the next trip before the first trip is over because of how freeing it is and how you really get to know the person and you're less concerned about what you look like. Because here's the big part. Like, once you take off all your clothes, ain't nothing else to hide. You might as well get to know about the person. And you're on an even playing field. And that's the reason why you'll notice on our trips that we make, I won't say nudity mandatory, but we don't hide the fact that it is a trip that is made to make people feel comfortable being nude. So it's not like you're nude and there's a person in the corner wearing a snowsuit staring at you. You're on even territory. We encourage.
So you are required to be nude at your events?
Yes. If you're signing up for a BNA event, then you are coming with the understanding that you are going to be nude the majority of the time.
Now, what if could you ease into it? Like, okay, let's say I was going to come to an event in September and I was like, you know what? I just can't walk in there. Could I just come in like topless, braless, but like boy shorts? Like, okay, I don't need them to see my pussy yet. But they can't. Let me ease into it.
You can ease into it. Now, the bad thing is, gentlemen, there's really nothing to ease into because taking your shirt off is really nothing for a guy. So,
like, that's nothing. Take them things off.
When we give, tips, and a lot of our events have pools and or oceans. So women, put on a bikini, start with your top, and then once you have the top off, go into the water and then take off your bottom and then come out. Or, for men, go into the water, take off your bottom, or you can ease in whatever way you want to, but you can't ease in and be like, okay, I'm gonna take off my top on Friday and then I'm gonna take off my bottom on Sunday. That's not.
Look, we got different schedules.
And then we also have, for each one of our trips, we have a Facebook page that's dedicated to that trip. And we talk about everything. We try to address every single situation you could possibly think of and talk about it and give solutions to issues even before it comes up. Men, you get an erection, what do you do? Women, it's that time of the month. How do you handle it? Men.
Okay, let's go there. I want to know. So, if you're on your period, if you're on your period as a woman, what do you do?
Now, this would be...
Do I just walk around with the tampon string hanging out, or am I allowed to wear my panties?
We would probably not recommend the first method, but we give suggestions. So this would probably be one of the cases where it's saying, okay, number one, there are other alternative methods to just tampons. So you have the Diva Cup, you have other things that allow you to still be nude without people knowing you're on your cycle. If you choose to still wear a tampon, but you don't want to wear bottoms, then, hey, do you tuck the string under or do you cut the string down a little bit so it doesn't hang? If you're one of those people like, listen, I'm just on 10, day 1 through day 7, then yes, come nude. That may be an opportunity where you do wear some type of boy short and or swimsuit bottom the entire trip just due to your situation. So it's, outflow happens. Things come. We just give you the tools to kind of equip you to deal with it versus you saying, oh my God, I'm on my cycle, I can't come. Yeah, no, that's not the case.
Okay. So it's no excuses. Okay, so now we have to go. So how do you tell men? Because that's something like, it's just like a natural body reaction. I see someone who's fine as hell and I'm like, and I become aroused. So what do you tell men? Because their arousal is way more visible than ours. Like, what's the tip to the guys? Like, do women take that as a compliment? Or is it like, or do people get creeped out?
That's a creeper move. So we don't want you to stand up and be like, hey, see me. There's discreet ways that you can deal with it. Number one, we always have to have a towel with us. So there's no sitting on bare surfaces just for hygienic
sanity.
purposes. So you can take yourself, cover up with a towel. You can go into the water, either the pool or the ocean, until it subsides. If that's not working, then go to a private room and take care of yourself and come on back out. Whatever floats your boat. We just want to make sure that it's not a flaunting type of environment.
And we as you're learning, there is no filtering here on the Boonie Breakdown.
It's okay.
So, like, what have you ever on a trip had a situation? Because I know this is not about sex, but things happen where people have connected physically on your trips.
Of course, I would be naive and or lying to say that.
These are friends. Go ahead.
Yeah, because we have, number one, outside of just physical, attraction. Like, the more time you spend with people, we have some pretty dope people that come to our trips, and they're beautiful inside and out. And so if you're attracted to the physical and then you find out, hey, they're just really good people all together, then of course that's going to enhance the attraction. So we have a couple of rules. We're not going to say that people don't have sex because they do. We're not going to say they don't make out because they do. But our policy is that it has to be in a private area, in a private room. So there is no public sex. There's no public making out, fondling, or anything like that. You have to go to a private room, and it has to be between consenting individuals.
Consent, yes.
And yes, consenting on both. And we have a zero tolerance policy with it. And we try to make sure that we reiterate that before the trip, during the trip, after the trip, is that this is one of those situations where don't take an erect penis or a hard nipple to say that they were interested in me. It is really, sometimes you have to be direct and ask the question, hey, do you want to have sex? Do you want to do this? And you need a verbal confirmation or a yes, and that's for men and women, because we don't want people to take physical and or social cues as permission, and then someone get offended and or feel like that they were harassed in our environments. And we don't even play, like, we'll have chats and people will comment like, yeah, I can't wait to go smack smash, and we're like, yeah, no, that's not tolerated. And we don't give warning. We say, hey, thank you very much for coming, but now you need to leave and you are no longer welcome back.
At the event, is that yourself and your like board members doing that, or do you have like security, like if it's like just like a one-off event? Because I'm sure when you're traveling it's harder to do that, but like, you feel comfortable doing that?
Well, we have a group talk with everyone once everyone arrives at the location.
Okay.
Like adults, we would ask people first if you felt comfortable enough, or someone says something to offend you, that you would address it with that person. If for some reason what they said or what they did makes you feel uncomfortable or you can't approach it, then we let you know in advance who the leaders are on the trip. And like I said, we're there, but we're working, then that's up for us to go and address and deal with. Thankfully, we have not had to have anything like that happen. And I think that's due to, number one, you have to pay for the trip. Number two, we're very direct and forward before the trip on what the rules and regulations are, as well as the consequences of it. And then like I said, we have some really good people that have been respectful of others during the time.
Gotcha. And what is like your ultimate hope or goal for the association? You want 1,000 members in the next 2 years, local chapters? Like, what do you see this blossoming into, or what's the vision?
I think our first goal is just to continue to be solid in who we are and representing within the naturist community. I know I talked about the need to want to create a safe space within nudity and or naturism, but the other thing for us is just to make sure that we have people of color represented in what is right now a predominantly colorless world. And it's bringing and uniting those who are going to new beaches and new resorts alone and by themselves to say, hey, you're not alone. There are other people like you. Still continue to do what you're doing, but you have a support system out here of people who are walking the same journey and enjoying what they do. So our first and primary goal is to make sure that we are a lasting organization and not just a blip in time. As we get to continue building our name and credibility in the naturist world, we are then focusing on making sure we're still providing quality trips and a quality experience for our members. And then hopefully from there, just expanding the types of trips that we offer. So right now we get together roughly once a quarter. in different locations. Okay. And we'd like to say, okay, as membership grows, here's a concentrated group of people that are in Dallas and or DFW and or in Cali. Now let's start to bring these people together as a part of this community and then grow from there.
That's awesome. Because I feel like this is something that maybe people are a little bit shy to admit that they would enjoy. or they don't know this type of organization exists. And I was sitting here, like, while we were talking, I was thinking about, like, when if, like, because you said it's not it's a predominantly white space, and when you said that, it triggered, you remember the show Real Sex on HBO?
I do.
I think that is like the first touch point I recall of a naturist / nude recreational experience. But of course theirs was, more sexual geared. But it was like a little group on the show, and they interviewed them. And I just remember it being all old white people. So again, it's like
enough. The naturist community itself recognizes that they have a gap to fill with, number one, age and diversity. And so if you're a member of A&R, they do give discounts on their membership for people that are younger, because that is the stereotype. If it's old, retired, white men and women that are just sitting there going, and we're helping to try to break down that stereotype, one event, one meetup, one podcast at a time, to say, hey, there is more diversity out there, not just women and, men, but also sexual orientation, age, career, whatever it may be, it's not just the free spirits that are out there. There are other people that have more traditional and conventional jobs that practice it, but due to, societal norms and or family norms or fear of the unknown, or people thinking that once you say naturist, you also mean orgy. Those are the fears that are out there that make people not want to discuss it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a big stereotype to probably have to overcome when, selling and or, pitching the group to people. And so I also think the other struggle for some people would be, and this is a huge stereotype, that I think most Black and brown people, their first thought when you say nude might be hedonism. Because I know I was telling someone, like, oh, I'm so excited to record this because this is something I really don't know much about. And they were like, oh, it's like hedonism, that's for freaks. And I'm like, well, for what I read, I don't think so. But I think that's like the only touch point when people think nude, party, vacation. True. They think hedonism.
And I think that has to, and I'm not travel shaming anybody, but in the African American community, you say travel, people go Jamaica, right? So then it's almost like a synonymous of nude, hedonism, and it's all there together. Of that's what most people know. They don't know that across the country there are hundreds of locations that you can go that have a naturist and or nudity environment, and pitch a tent on a lake and be nude and be free to walk around. It's the buzzwords. It's where most people have been. It's where you get the sensationalism that comes along with the nudity.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because like hedonism is about like the pursuit of pleasure, honestly, and not to say that you guys aren't getting pleasure from being nude, but people take that to the extreme to mean sensual and sexual indulgence, and you very clearly stated at the beginning of this that this is not, tied to any sexual connotation.
You want to go and not knocking those who do. We just realize that there is a time and a place for both. And there are organizations that if you want to be nude and still want to partake in that, there are plenty of organizations out there. We just want to differentiate ourselves to say, hey, there's a space for that, but here's how we fit into that. And we want to create other spaces. And like I said, it's more about self-awareness versus just sexual pleasure.
Now I want to move into a segment of the podcast we do called The Breakdown. And so I am going to say, I'm just going to say one word and you can say the first thing that comes to mind. It can be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be a sound, it could be a sigh, whatever. So the first one, self-acceptance.
Love.
Nature.
Michael Jackson.
Penises.
Yes.
Travel.
Adventure.
Self-care.
Acceptance.
Titties.
Okay.
Community.
My people.
Awesome. All right. So before we wrap up, can you just tell everyone where they can apply if they're interested in becoming a member, and where they can find you on the internet and social media if they just want to dig a little deeper, get a little bit more information, and maybe chat with a member of BNA?
Absolutely. First of all, Black Naturist Association would love to thank the Boonie Breakdown for having us on here. If you want to reach out to us and learn a little bit more about what we do, if you have Facebook, you can find us at Black Naturist Association. We are currently working on our website, but that is coming up as blacknaturistassociation.com. You can send us a message through Facebook, or you can send us an email as well. That is blacknaturistassociation@gmail.com. And then for all of my younger, internet savvy, social media savvy people out there, we have Twitter and we have Instagram as well. And that is at Black Naturist.
Got it. So, of course, I will link all of those great resources in the show notes, so be sure to click on them. And, of course, one more question just popped into my mind, and while I have you, I'm going to go ahead and ask. Are there any benefits to living, like health benefits, to living life in the nude?
I say we go to a lot of places where it's sunny. We go to a lot of places that have the ocean in them. And I'm a firm believer that if anything that ails you out there, sun, salt water, and sand can cure them all. The physical benefits that you have from that, you get to melanin popping, skin looks good, clear.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D will do it all. And then the other piece of it, I just think it's really about the inner self and inner well-being of once you realize you can accept yourself as you are without having to worry about, I need to go to the gym and I need to do this. And we're not saying don't do that, but just continue to love yourself in the process. And I think that leads to a better, healthier, happier everyone.
Well, that is a perfect note to end on. Shatora, thank you so much for coming on. This was really enlightening, and I learned a lot, and my curiosity is piqued a little.
Well, we would love to have you on a trip.
Look,
we can actually keep open mind. The fact that you just had a discussion means that you're already there.
I'm halfway there, right? So if it's a destination that I'm like, oh, that could be fun.
Yay!
You might see me send in an application.
We have our 2019 trip calendar coming out soon. And so I'll make sure that you get a list of our updated trip sites when it comes.
Well, thank you so much again for coming on.
You're welcome, and thank you for having us.
So thanks again to Shatora for coming on the podcast and schooling us all and breaking it all down about what it means to be a naturist. And I'm wondering, is your curiosity now piqued? Let me know. I mean, I think I need to go to like a topless beach or something first to at least try it out. But again, be sure to check out the Black Naturist Association, okay? And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, or any app that you listen to your favorite podcasts on. Don't forget to leave a review too. You might just hear your review on the next episode. And follow us on social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make those pretty images for nothing. Have a dope ass week. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Until next time.